Happy Friday. Good morning. What's up to everybody who is joining me live? This is really, really exciting. Um, are you raising yourself? I know we're going to start right here, right now. I'm asking you a question. I need you to think about it. Are you raising yourself? Do you feel like you are raising yourself? This episode of the Work and Play podcast is live, and we are going to discuss first generation corporate professionals and the desire to make a shift, make a pivot, do something different for themselves. Today, I'm really excited to bring this conversation to you live. My name is Arylle, career transformation coach and the host of the Work and Play podcast. I want to say, first of all, welcome to my folks on LinkedIn. This is my first time going live on LinkedIn. So we are now broadcasting from YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And we are having a conversation together about how do we achieve the life that we have dreamed of in the cubicle, at home, all of these things. And how do we create the vision that we see for ourselves? So today we're going to have a conversation about first generation corporate professionals, which is a topic that we don't often talk about. One, because we're in a environment where people assume we all have the same backgrounds, and we don't, right? And then because many people assume that we have the same backgrounds, we go into corporate America with these same assumptions, thinking that I'm the only one that's different around here, right? And when you walk around thinking that you're the only one that's different, you diminish your opportunities for reaching out for help, getting to know your coworkers, and the value that can actually do for your career. But what happens when you decide, this has been a really good run, corporate is great, but I want something different for myself? How do you make that decision? How do you navigate leaving corporate America when, first of all, you're the first, this is the first time you've ever been in this environment to succeed or get to the level of success or salary that you've done in your family? So let's define corporate, first generation corporate professionals. So if you've never heard of this topic, I encourage you to research it. There are many conversations about first generation professionals, and now we're going to talk about first generation corporate professionals. I would define it as, and it would be defined in society or in social context as individuals who are the first in industries outside of like non-traditional or traditional blue collar industries, or roles that don't require education, or it could be industries that are just different than private sector, so public sector jobs. And now, as a career coach, as a career transformation coach, one thing that I've learned is there is a distinct difference between the way these professionals think, and there's no right or wrong. But when you have parents who are familiar with blue collar industries or non-traditional or traditional non-college educated roles, or industries that are outside of private organizations, then the mindset is different that you're going into a corporation with. So we must acknowledge the differences in order for us to value what we bring to an organization anyway. But as it relates to my coaching, one thing that I love about being a non-traditional career coach is that we get to a point in our lives where we decide we want something different for ourselves. There's nothing wrong with corporate America. Corporate America has done everything great for us. We've learned some skills, we've expanded our mind, and we've learned that there's a different life that we can live for ourselves. But when you want something different, who do you go to have that conversation? So I pride myself in being a non-traditional career coach, because when you want to have those conversations about leaving corporate America, the same imposter syndrome, embarrassment, shame that you experience while you're trying to navigate that space, it comes up because now you're trying to navigate another conflicted situation, and you have to learn how to trust again. You have to learn who can give you that type of guidance. So as an entrepreneur, when I left corporate America and I'm having conversations like, I think I want something different. I think I want something like, I want to feel different. I want to have different impact. I want to create projects that are just different than the ones that I've created a 10-year career off of. You have conversations with people who are around you who will encourage you to figure something out, encourage you to apply for another job, or encourage you to be happy for the benefits that are allotted to you. And that's totally fine. But what happens to the person who just expands your mind and shows you what you're capable of doing using the information and the experience that you have in corporate America? Someone who can help you build on that knowledge and that experience. That right there, as soon as I found someone, which I'll be honest with you, was years after I quit corporate America, then I realized that I can use my corporate experience as a foundation of my entrepreneurship. I don't have to throw away that experience. I don't have to be disgruntled. I don't have to any type of the trauma that is associated with getting out of corporate America or navigating in corporate America as a first generation corporate professional, you don't have to associate yourself with that anymore. You can associate your background as power and as guidance, right? Because now you understand that a lot of entrepreneurs, they wish they understood the value of structure and organization and the things that corporations teach you. But before you understand the value of that, right, you're on this journey where you're trying to understand your relationship with corporate America. And that is totally natural. So I wanted to have this conversation about first generation corporate professionals because this is a unique space to be in. I'm thinking about like how I've had conversations with my clients, and the conversations are around faith, are around experiences, knowledge, expertise, but also around the things that we have to consider around our 401k, right? This is where we get very, very granular. So follow me in my train of thought as I do this live episode with you guys. But this is coming up for me right now, and I think about your 401k, for example. This is the difference between a blue collar professional, a professional who has had who's had a job, long successful career, but doesn't have a college degree and possibly isn't in private, and then someone in the public sector, right? A 401k is one of those investment vehicles that everyone doesn't have the privilege of using, right? But how do you utilize your 401k when you're taught to, invest in your 401k and do the corporate match? But when you want to leave, right? When you want to leave, no one tells you how to use that for your benefit. Most people will tell you, oh, don't tap into that 401k. You're going to, tax benefits are going to shift, da, 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 da. But there's a mindset that you have to apply to your journey from corporate into entrepreneurship when you realize investments look a little bit different. Your number one investment, no matter what industry, is going to be yourself, right? So if you have $25,000 in your 401k and you don't have a family to support, like investing in your business, you don't have venture capitalists, right? And you're trying to support or build a dream that you have inside of you, but all you need is the money that you have in your 401k, then we have to have a conversation around your mindset, your values, and your strategic plan to leverage your 401k and grow it larger than you could have if you maintained your corporate status. I'm going to pause there because that's a reality that a lot of corporate professionals are struggling with right now, because all we know is to maintain that 401k, make sure that we don't experience those tax benefits and wait until we're retirement age to touch it. But what if your dream, all it needs is a $10,000 investment, or all it needs is a $20,000 investment? Are you going to sit there with your dream and not invest? Are you going to sit there and just, I can't touch it? That's kind of like similarly, the mindset that we have around credit. And I grew up, my parents, I love all of them. And honestly and truly, my grandfather was an entrepreneur. I just didn't know what an entrepreneur was at a time. But the thought is you only spend cash. You only spend cash. And if you get a credit card, you put it in an ice cube, freeze it, put it in the freezer, and don't touch it ever. But your credit is valuable when you're transitioning from corporate into entrepreneurship. Building your personal credit is literally what can help you build your business credit when you become an entrepreneur. And sometimes you need a seed, like you need an investment of cash in order to do the things that you really want to do. So if you're from, you're just living off of your parents' background or your parents' knowledge or the people that, raised you, then you're thinking, I can't touch credit. I can only spend cash, right? And you're not taking benefits of like points, credit card points or business investments. You're not learning how to like spend in a way that you have the cash, but you're actually spending in credit. I just had I did a live on Instagram with someone called Sheeta 3. If y'all don't know her, I will introduce you guys to her at some point. But she is educating our community on how to use credit to travel for free, to increase your lifestyle, to invest in your business. And this is education that a lot of us don't get when we're in certain backgrounds, right? But this is also coming back to the conversation. This is what you're bringing into corporate when you are first generation. It's okay. We get calls during the live. So when it comes to transitioning, these are the conversations that I have with my coaching clients. We are talking about how do we leverage our current position to get to where we want to go. When you're in corporate America, you don't necessarily realize the differences that you bring. You feel like because you have no support, you don't know, you can't, there's no one to actually talk to, there's no one to ask for help. There are times when you feel like, oh, I don't have the connections that someone else has. So you feel like, oh, I don't know anything about having a Lamborghini. I remember the conversations that I had with my friends when I first got my corporate job. And it's like, man, such and such comes from money, right? We make the same salary, or maybe, one person is higher or lower. Maybe they knew how to negotiate. But, you come home and you're like, oh, they got it all. They got parents who have money. And I'm figuring this out by myself. Networking opportunities are different. Social engagements are different, right? But the thing that it all comes to, right? And I want to leave you guys. I'm going to do a little bit of coaching before we get up off of here. But the thing that we have to realize is, one, you're not raising yourself. You're not raising yourself. It feels like you're alone. It feels like your parents can't help you. It feels like your friends can't provide any solutions for you changing your life. It feels like there's no one around you who can actually give you guidance. But the thing about it is, if you're listening, these people around you are telling you things that you need to hear, and they're providing guidance, even if indirectly. I remember I used to work at a company, and the director of HR, she sat me down and she said, you know what? You've created this program called, the Delta Career Readiness Program. And, you have this entrepreneurial spirit. You should become an entrepreneur. Now, at the time, I thought she was telling me this because she just didn't want to get me a job. I was applying, and I couldn't really find anything that I really wanted. But what she said to me was, you know what? You're entrepreneurial. You should become an entrepreneur. And it sat with me. I was disgruntled in the moment, but it sat with me. And it really is one of those things that kept me moving, even when times got hard in entrepreneurship. It was that entrepreneurial spirit that she recognized in me, that no one else around me said it. And that came from within corporate America. So who are the people around you who are feeding you spiritually, mentally, that you could literally learn from, maybe indirectly? Maybe they're not meeting you for lunch on a coffee chat, but maybe they're saying things that are valuable to you on your journey. And the second thing that I want to leave you with. So the first is a reflection point. Who are the people around you who are pouring into your vision and allowing you to expand your mindset? Because you've already done it once. Being a first generation corporate professional means you've experienced a mindset shift when you were in college. You experienced another mindset shift when you got to corporate. And now that you want to move into entrepreneurship because you realize you want something different, you're going to experience a completely different mindset shift. And it's going to change your values in money, your spirituality values, your relationships. It's going to change your values again. But you've been here before. So now it's time to think about this and prepare for this next shift. Don't let life take you by surprise and take you on this roller coaster that you weren't prepared for. Realize I've done this before. I'm a pioneer. I'm a trailblazer in my family and even in my close circles. And I'm going to do this again, right? So before you finish this day, I want you to think about your values. And I don't want you to think about your values as, oh, I raised myself. I got my own values. I built my own values. You probably did. But it started somewhere, and it probably started at home. The values that your mom, your dad, your grandma, the person who raised you and instilled in you, either actively or passively. Those are the values that you came from. I want you to write them down. When it comes to money, what are the values that you were raised on? When it comes to love and relationships, what are the values that they taught you? What are the things that what about spirituality? What did they teach you about God? Because when you transition from corporate to entrepreneurship, your relationship, whether it's God, Allah, Buddha, your relationship with your faith is going to become essential in this journey if it's not already. If you don't already do church every Saturday or Sunday, it's going to become very important to you on this journey. Now, I want you to think about your values and where you come from. And then I want you to think about the values that you instilled in yourself. I want you to think about the values that you've picked up along the way because you're a pioneer, because no one else has ever told you to have these values, but you realize they would serve you if you were to bring them into your life. I need you to know that there are values that you are instilling in yourself because you are first generation. So it might feel like you're raising yourself, but it's not, you're not alone. You're really not alone. There are people around you, and there are people that can be resources that make it easier for you to navigate this journey. I left corporate America 5 years ago, feeling some of the same things you're feeling right now. And you don't have to jump ship. You don't have to burn bridges. You can do this productively. You can plan efficiently, and you can do exactly what you need to do to get one foot in front of the other, right? To get the time, freedom, and money that you really truly dream of while you're in your cubicle or working from home. All those things, time, freedom, and control of your life. It looks different when you realize you can step back. But it takes a process of holistically looking at your life, looking at your career and everything that you've built up, seeing the value in the life that you've built and taking that with you as a strength, not a liability. You can do that. And I really want to encourage you to do that. So that concludes the first live episode syndicated on all platforms with your girl, Arylle Young. I really, really enjoyed this one. I've done some preparing, and as a podcaster, planning and organizing these things and my thoughts, it's going to get better and better and better, right? So bringing my thoughts to you, in a very, short format. Whereas I get my clients and we can go here and there. We can go from business to personal in a 2-hour conversation. I'm going to challenge myself to bring value to you in no more than 15, 20 minutes. Because that's all you need. One, that's probably all you have time for, especially if you catch this on a lunch break. Okay. But you can change your life on a lunch break. You could do that. I believe in you. So until next time, you got 2 assignments. Do some reflecting, do some journaling, take some time and think about the life that you want to build, because you can. And if you feel like you don't have resources, you know that you can and you will achieve the life that you desire. Just reach out and ask for help. That's all you got to do. Until next time, I'm going to see you guys later on all chat platforms. Next Friday at 8:30, we're going live again on the Work and Play Podcast live. So I will see you guys next time. Thank y'all for joining on Instagram. Thank y'all for joining on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm going to see y'all next week. Peace.